I'm Julia Maxwell, and I'm here to talk about my work supporting learners within the Teach-Out model. I'm a second-year MS in Information student at the U of M School of Information. At the Center for Academic Innovation, I work with the Open Learning Initiatives team and design managers as the graduate fellow for Teach-Outs. What is a Teach-Out? If you aren't familiar, Teach-Outs are short-term open learning opportunities that center around salient topics like political primaries, concussions in sports, Earth Day, and free speech, just to name a few of the existing ones. A key component of the Teach-Out model is discussion. Teach-Outs create an opportunity for global learners to engage with topic experts and with each other to apply and think about content within their own surroundings. So far, the Center for Academic Innovation has hosted the majority of Teach-Outs on two learning platforms, Coursera and FutureLearn. Today, I'm going to walk you through my role as I support learners from the outset of their Teach-Out experience, all the way through archiving the Teach-Out and making it accessible as an open learning resource for learners to reference. These are the Teach-Outs I've worked on so far since I started in December 2019. The first was Arts and Technology, which was also the first one that was launched on the platform FutureLearn. This had 1,250 joiners from all over the world. The second one was Why Iowa, which detailed the American political process during our current primary and caucus season, and it also attracted a global audience. Happening right now is Melting Ice Rising Seas, which is on Coursera. It details an expedition to the glaciers of Greenland and discusses a study of the effects of climate change on that environment. Lastly, Earth Day at 50, which will launch on Coursera and FutureLearn. This starts April 5th. This will chronicle the past, present, and future of sustainability as it relates to Earth Day's 50th anniversary. Check it out, and please tell your friends. I created this graphic to give you a look at the timeline of the ways learners participate in the Teach-Out and how I help support them. My role in this process is notated by the red brackets and primarily focuses around supporting learners during their learning experience. To go a little more in depth, my role in supporting learners begins when they enroll in the Teach-Out and start posting their thoughts and responses to discussion prompts. From the time that the Teach-Out is launched, I am the primary person that engages with learners, who post their thoughts on discussion prompts embedded in the learning content. I engage with them in many ways, mainly through responding to their posts, asking questions, and moderating the conversations that are occurring on the platform daily. Engagement is an iterative and cyclical process, which you can hopefully see from the graphic. It spans the length of the live Teach-Out. One of the main ways I keep learners thinking about course content throughout their experience is by crafting relevant questions as follows up to their responses. These are some examples of that. FutureLearn is on the left and Coursera is on the right. I usually try to do this by asking them about their own experiences, thoughts, or insights into whatever they introduced in their post. In my experience, this allows for learners to trust both me as a moderator, but also trust their fellow learners. It creates a safe digital space of learning and collaboration, using personal insight to add richness to the content itself. It's often difficult to ask detailed responses and questions for every single learner that responds to a discussion prompt in the Teach-Out, so I try to create presence in other ways. One way that I create my presence as a helpful and encouraging figure in the Teach-Out space is by welcoming folks when they introduce themselves, and by using the like and upvote buttons. This makes sure that they know that I saw and value their comment. I also greet every person that introduces themselves on the initial discussion forum in order to establish myself as a helpful figure for their learning experience. The bottom line here is that the learner should feel seen and heard through every interaction they have with me and with each other, and they should know that their thoughts and contributions are valuable to the learning experience of everyone in the learning space. Along with replying to learner posts, asking questions, and encouraging learners through my presence in the Teach-Out space, I also do a great deal of other activities to help support learners during the live Teach-Out. This is an infographic to show you what my entire live engagement practice looks like. Along with the learner engagement activities, I also help compile questions that learners posted in the discussion forums so that we can have the field experts that contributed to the teach out answer the questions in a separately filmed segment that's added after the teach out begins. I also sit in on the Q&As to make sure that the language and content is accessible to the learners in the teach out. Lastly, I create recaps of the success of the teach out to share with the experts who contributed to the learning content. This can include the number of learners, how interactions can be characterized, and more highlights from the learning experience of the teach out. For other academic innovation staff and future fellows, I've started work on an engagement document, which will help people establish a streamlined and helpful approach to any learner engagement activities they do during a live teach out. After this teach out finishes its live run, I begin phase 2 of my support work, which is archiving the teach out for preservation and use on Michigan Online. Why do we archive? We archive the teach outs so that they can be accessible as possible for learners around the world, well past the time frame of the live teach out. The archived teach outs on Michigan Online are licensed with Creative Commons, which means that learners can freely use them to build on, reference, and share as long as they credit U of M. Open educational resources, as the teach outs are called once they're archived, are a big part of an academic future in which people can have more equitable access to information and learning experiences, and can learn and grow from whatever cultural, financial, and educational environment they are in. In terms of the archiving process, I first have to take inventory. So after or just before the teach out concludes, I start to take inventory of the stable elements of the course that can be archived from the learning platform to Michigan Online. I create a detailed spreadsheet called the Content Archival Outline, which helps organize the elements of the teach out so that I can easily import them into their new home. The Content Archival Outline helps me keep track of the lengths of videos, the number of pieces of content in each learning module, and the corresponding readings and other pieces of text for each module. It also helps me identify which elements are suited for archiving. That is, which elements can users interact with for years to come and are best suited and most stable for the current capabilities of Michigan Online's website. After the inventory is complete and I have a good sense of what can be migrated to Michigan Online, I begin importing the content for the teach out onto Michigan Online's server-side web framework. When this process is complete, the user will see the teach out included among the ones listed here when they view the teach outs on Michigan Online's website in their browser. A lot of the elements that make up the teach out content have to be converted into elements that are operable with the web framework Michigan Online uses. This graphic shows that process. A big part of conversion is taking plain text that is used for the readings in the teach out and other textual materials in the teach out and turning it into HTML so that it's readable and accessible on the site. Other things include getting individual YouTube links for each teach out video so that they can be embedded, and making sure that PDFs and other externally linked content have a stable home for users to visit as they look at the teach out in the years to come. The bottom line with this process is making the teach out elements accessible as possible, not just for users and learners that might go to the site tomorrow and look at a teach out, but those that will visit teach outs in the years to come on the site. That was the full overview of my learner support timeline when I'm working with the design managers on a teach out. My number one goal in this process, which hopefully you saw from the graphic and from the presentation, is to give support to learners throughout a lifetime of learning, rather than just a short moment of education. The teach outs are especially important for encouraging lifelong learning as they are free and accessible to all and will live on Michigan Online. The process of giving learners the live teach out engaging experiences, along with the creation of teach out archives to make sure that folks from all walks of life can experience them, hopefully helps people to see that you can be a lifelong learner and that the Center for Academic Innovation and Michigan Online can help make that possible. Thank you so much for being here and for viewing my presentation. I hope you learned a little bit about teach outs, preservation and archiving, and learner engagement today. I have so many people to thank throughout the AI community, and in such a crazy time, I have felt so lucky to be a part of the Center for Academic Innovation community. Thank you again, and I hope that you all continue to be safe, happy, and well.